All right, the cons. Okay, cons.
One con that I find in Colombia is...
Okay, so my 3 cons.
Where there is good, there must be bad. And in this video we're going to talk about the cons of living in Colombia. To give you a more diversified view, we have asked a lot of our friends during the last year what the cons are living in Colombia. We have already done a pros video with the same people you're going to see in this video. If you want to find out more about the pros of living in Medellin, what they thought, you can find the video up here. So yeah, let's start with the first person.
3 cons. Living in a large city such as Medellin, the pollution has increased a lot over the last few years. That affects quality of life. In combination with traffic, that makes mobility more difficult to handle. And the third is probably the bureaucracy that can sometimes be a bit frustrating if you have to deal with those kind of procedures.
All right, the cons. Okay, the cons. Traffic sucks. And I've been here long enough to know, or to have seen the development of traffic. So maybe 6, 7 years ago, it wasn't that bad. Now it's pretty bad. The smog, you could still see some smog in the afternoon. I try not to go out too much during the middle of the day because of it. And 3, is there something else I don't like? No. I mean, maybe several years ago I would say, you know what? There aren't enough good restaurants in the city. But at this point, every 2 or 3 months, a new awesome restaurant opens up. So that's no longer a con. Can I just have 2? Is that,
Yeah,
is that
for
cool?
sure, yeah.
Okay, there's only
Even better.
2 reasons not to be in Medellin. That's it.
Okay, well the 3 cons, I'd say probably inequality that is quite prevalent here, and the corruption. Number 2 is probably the access to home comforts. I miss some things that you can get in Australia that are a little bit harder to find here.
So what's your top thing to miss here in Colombia?
To miss, I probably miss good food, Asian food.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Really miss it. And probably another bad thing is it's just a bit inefficient. All the procedures, bureaucracy, it's a bit slow, but just doing business here is when you feel the effects of that, really.
Yeah, exactly.
One con that I find in Colombia is motorcycles. And there's no rhyme or reason to the way they travel. Left side, right side, passing you on both sides, riding straight down the middle of the road, jumping in front of you. It's just annoying. It's a con.
Okay. And one that stands out in my mind as a con is pollution. The next con is dealing with what is, we would call, just the availability and the visibility of weapons. And we're really not sure why. It's like a big question mark, particularly coming from Chicago. You sort of want to question, why am I looking at a shotgun? Or why am I looking at a revolver that's being loaded? And particularly if you have some training, why is this person who carries a weapon not handling it safely?
Okay, so my 3 cons, I would have to say, if you don't know the language, would be the language barrier. And then the second thing would be, let's say you buying some furniture or some appliances and you're trying to have it delivered, delivery times. They work on their own time here, so you have to be patient. And also, the last thing would be getting gringo. Especially if you don't know the language, people can try to take advantage of you by overpricing you on certain items because you're not familiar with the customs here.
The only disadvantage here is the traffic. That is really too much, too crowded.
For me, the bad things would be maybe a little bit pollution, because of what Jan just said, is too many cars. And of course, that has a big influence on environment. So it's a bit pollute weather, and we're working on it. Hopefully, we can solve it in a short future. And I had to add maybe the jumpy weather. You go up and down, and extreme changes for weather. So you really have to get used to it.
And our three cons are, the first con is surely, I think it's very interesting. Nobody of our friends that you saw before in the video mentioned security. So that gives you kind of a picture, yeah, how people think once they live here. So security is one of the biggest issues once people move here. But when they're here for quite some time, it doesn't really matter too much anyway.
They kind of forget about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, surely that doesn't mean that's no danger around here. Because of that, maybe people just forget about it or get used to it. So I think surely, especially for most expats that are thinking about relocating here, security is still an issue here. It's not as bad. We're from Switzerland, so we're from a country which is very, very safe. So for us, it's a little different to adapt here, yeah, because we don't feel as safe as you would back in Switzerland. Of course, if you compare it to the US or other countries in Western Europe, then it's not too big of a difference, but still, I would say security-wise here, it's surely a con of living in Colombia.
So another thing is that the stability. So when you're coming from another country, you never saw war, you never had the bad times, kinda. So here we're living a really good life here, and we're really happy, and we feel safe and everything. But it wasn't always like that. And it's like the time that it was bad is not so long time ago. So we really have to keep in mind like the stability of the money, the stability of the income, like the stability of the country in general. Like it's possible that this can change in a few years, and you never know that.
I think that's a very good point. Just the track record of Colombia in comparison to, let's say, Costa Rica or Panama is just not that long. So you don't have like 50 or 60 years already of more or less violence-free environment. Here in Colombia, it's just about 20-25 years. So could be enough, but yeah, it's not as good as compared to other Latin American countries. So the third con, I would surely say, me as a person that likes to drive, Colombia is not really the country to drive. Not just because the streets are chaotic and everything like that. It just comes with the Latin American country anyway. But first up here, getting a driver's license, you have to do it all over again. You cannot transform your driver's license like for example in Panama. You have to do it new. It's more or less a little expensive. It's around $300-400 to do that, and you have to take 20 hours of classes, theory, and 20 hours of practice and stuff like that. Yeah, driving, if you really like to drive, maybe Colombia is not the country for you, or especially the cities in Colombia. The countryside is surely a different topic, but then you may or may not have to do the driver's license test. It's just not so nice of a country if you like to be in a car.
I hope you could benefit from today's video and from all the experience of different people talking about the same topic. So don't forget to check out our website, where we provide a lot of information about the expat life, have a free country test, and much more. So make sure to check it out now.